Hey review family, keep it tight. My name is Jay Morris, the review guy, reviewing music for the love of music, and I'm back again to bring you another video. And in this one I'm going to be doing a quick review of the new Këkht Aräkh record entitled Pale Swordsman. Now, if I pronounce that name improperly, my apologies, but this is a one-man melodic, melancholic, depressive black metal project coming out of Ukraine, fronted by one Crying Orc. This is the second studio-length album and the first for Livor Mortis, as the first was released independently and quickly built up some traction in the black metal underground for how vintage it felt, but not necessarily in the way that you get people copying Emperor and Darkthrone every 5 minutes, but genuinely bringing black metal back to a time where the melancholic and depressive edge felt very genuine and it wasn't very well produced. It felt extremely raw. This record only reaches 31 minutes, so it definitely is in and out before it can become too cumbersome, and I was just insanely impressed by what I'm hearing here. Now, I understand that this record is proving to be polarizing for a lot of people for numerous reasons. Yes, I think people are approaching this record a little bit of the wrong way, because people are saying that it is forgettable, that the riffs aren't well written, but I think you sort of have to strip back what Crying Orc is doing on this record and understand that it is simplistic, it is basic, but it does so in a very effective way. The somber approach that is on almost every track here, where you're bleeding in with these static intros, it definitely sounds like an old tape recording or a cassette recording. It genuinely sounds like static from a VHS tape. And you're also getting these layers of just very simplistic pianos that are coming across very beautifully. And yes, everything here is very simplistic, even down to the way that the wretches come off, but the sorrowful and icy atmosphere, it just is wintry in every way that something can be wintry for black metal, and you could definitely fool me into thinking that this is a record that comes straight out of 1992 from the underground. The way that this project is able to revitalize that style but still make it very interesting, you don't really hear much of this now. For those of you that are fans of death metal, I think I equated a lot to what Sugabog did. Even though I wasn't the biggest fan of the record that they released recently, for a lot of people it was the type of thing that it wasn't mind-blowing, but what they were doing was bringing back a style of death metal in such a way that a lot of bands are failing to do so, and I sort of equate this record in the same lane. A track like Thorns, even though it does go through a very rudimentary progression overall, it is just so effective, especially when those pianos come through it. It reeks of disassociation and it reeks of sorrow. It reeks of disassociation and overall sadness, wandering through a lost plane while you are completely alone. It is lonesome, it is dejected, it is depressive. And every time I come back to this record, simplistic as it is to break down, I still find myself becoming more and more impressed and noticing little things that Crying Orc does across this record to make it feel like the old school, but still have a very unique flair. And mind you, this is the second studio-length album from this project. Anguish tracks like In the Garden and Amid the Stars are just fantastic examples of how you can have breathtaking atmosphere, keep it very basic, but make it so effective in the way it comes off. And when you combine that with these instrumental breakups that are completely piano-led, with this hanging over static sort of reverberating throughout on the intro track and a track like Nocturne, it balances it out really well. A lot of times I think interludes are used improperly in black metal, but here every time it comes through, it just adds to how Victorian and how hopeless a lot of these tracks come off. While it is very rip-roaring and it's corrosive when it is going fast and you're getting hit with so many blast beats and frigid riffs and these wretches, there's also this stark contrast where it feels like oil and water. While you might not think it would work out well or be mixed well or seems like it would be the type of thing an amateur couldn't really do, surprisingly it clashes in such a beautiful way. I really do suggest this record to people that have felt sort of disappointed by the melodic black metal scene and the atmospheric black metal scene in a while. If black gaze isn't your thing and you want something that is a lot more vintage and sort of stuck in antiquity but really bringing it into the forefront nowadays with some awesome production overall, I think this is the type of record that you're not only going to get a lot out of, but is going to excite you for this project going into the future, because I certainly found myself coming back to this record a lot and really just getting more and more excited every single time for what this project was going to entail in the future. I'm going to be giving this album an 8 out of 10. And that is a wrap. Have you heard this new Këkht Aräkh record, Pale Swordsman? If you have, let me know in the comment section below what you thought about it. I would love to discuss this record with you. Be sure to like this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to join the review family today, and smash that notification bell to be notified of my future uploads. You know who it is, my name is Livor Mortis, the Review Guy, and I'm signing off saying farewell.